trashy pulp novels of the world have anything to offer? Are bestsellers all they're hyped up to be? The Terrible Book Club explores whether or not you really can judge a book by its cover or its ridiculous synopsis. If you've ever seen a book and thought, ugh, who's reading this? We probably are.
Hello and welcome to episode 23 of the Terrible Book Club. I'm Chris. This is Paris.
Hey.
And this time we read HoTactics. How to Mindfuck a Man into Spending, Spoiling, and Sponsoring.
By Gia Lambert.
You know what, Paris? Countless women play by the biased male rules of dating and relationships. One that keeps them in a constant state of stress and worry. Victims of romance instead of masters of love, today's women settle for cheap dates and even cheaper talk, don't you think?
Yeah, what, cheap talk like this shit?
Why are you splitting the bill with a man that should be spoiling you? Why are you preparing home-cooked meals for a man that can't provide you a home?
Oh, no.
Where are you even cooking them, in fact?
Yeah.
Why are you having sex with a man that promises the world but refuses to give you his heart?
Oh, man.
Why are you playing by outdated rules in hopes that one day your kindness will be rewarded? Why, Paris?
I don't know.
I have discovered a group of women who refuse to be exploited, are immune to manipulation, who never settle in the name of love. These ladies know what they want and take what they want by beating men at their own game. Perhaps just beating men.
Yeah,
That's one way to get all that stuff. Utilizing the secrets exposed in this book that we are reading, these women gain power, money, and status. Men call them gold diggers. Women call them hoes, but they call themselves winners. This is the book that society doesn't want you to read, Paris. They're keeping it under wraps. They don't want you to see it.
Along with the Illuminati and alien abduction.
Yeah,
and
the
all
Illuminati
those other...
personally do not want you to read HoTactics.
No, I mean... Never mind.
How to Mindfuck a Man into Spending, Spoiling, and Sponsoring lays out the practical steps to evolve from a woman that goes Dutch to a woman that gets pampered. No Dutch women involved in this.
No.
Sorry.
No.
Can't have...
No, if you're from Holland, get out.
I'm sorry, you can't participate in the HoTactics. HoTactics provides the sex-free blueprint, okay? You don't even have to fuck.
Wow.
On how to turn any man into your personal ATM. Stop spending nights with men that can't offer you anything but conversation.
Oh, that's the worst line.
They can't offer you anything but a good conversation. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Stop being understanding of men who are underachieving. Stop settling and submitting and learn how to seduce and destroy.
Oh my god.
You tried to play by their rules, now it's time to play by ho rules.
Oh, let's give Chris a little fucking round of applause. Yeah, that was great reading. Good job. So that was the back of that book.
You are in fact back over in the Terrible Book Club studio, I suppose. Mm-hmm. So your audio quality should be a little bit better.
Yeah. So I did actually finally figure out why my audio quality was so bad, and it wasn't because of the way I had anything set up. It was because apparently the computer I was using to record isn't mine, it's my boyfriend's, and it had an external sound card, and neither of us realized it until when we moved. He was like giving his friend a bunch of stuff back, and the external sound card was one of them. And we didn't put it together for a while. So yeah, I'm an idiot. I need to buy a better sound card. So that's why I sounded like garbage the last 2 episodes. Sorry, everybody.
I mean, we're not audio wizards over here in general.
I mean, we're like audio apprentice wizards, right?
Sure. I'm even when you're over here, I'm kind of riding the levels all the time because I see you clip sometimes and other times not. I should maybe put a compressor in front of us at some point. Well,
anyway,
we'll figure that out. We're here to talk about books, not audio stuff.
No, we're here to talk about pussy.
Yeah. So much of it, and how you don't even have to give it up.
Nope.
To get all the money that you could ever enjoy. Because this book encourages you to aim high. It encourages you to aim extremely high.
So this book, Gia Lambert, the author, is actually a man. So that makes it even more hilarious because he's like, don't give in to men, don't listen to them, but listen to me. I'm a
he
man.
wants you to treat men like shit.
Yeah.
Because he has the insider scoop by being a man himself that he knows how all men think.
Yeah.
Okay, so he can give you that's his selling point.
Because you see, men have a hive mind. They're not actually independent individuals.
Even though he kind of contradicts that like right away in some spots in this book, but
yeah. So this book, so you may have heard the title and listened to Chris read the back and thought, "Wow, this sounds ridiculous. Why do women want to go to these lengths to get a husband or a boyfriend?" Turns out, these tactics aren't even for that. These tactics
hell no.
are just to acquire material wealth, vacations, getting your rent paid. It's like it said, like, make a man your personal ATM. That is literally what this book is about. So,
did you come into this thinking that there was going to be some kind of like love aspect?
Well, yeah, I thought it was like to get a boyfriend or a husband.
Hell no.
No, it's not. Although it does talk about at the end how if you want to retire from hodom, you can graduate to housewife.
The kingdom of hodom.
Yeah. And so this book, I mean,
the trashiest hoe of all hodom.
Yeah. We're going to be using all the crass language the book uses.
Yeah, prepare for an NC-17 episode again, because
that's why I said,
that's basically the tone of this book too. Is just
I mean, that's why I said, we're going to talk about pussy, because there's literally a chapter called Pussy Costs, and it's a chapter that helps you determine how much your pussy is worth. And I feel like I couldn't even determine a value for mine. He says that your pussy should be priceless.
Yeah, well,
but like you have to treat it differently.
That's how you should be selling it. The pussy cost was kind of like, I think you kind of missed the point there that it's less about how much, it is kind of about how much your pussy is worth, let's say, but it's more about like how much that it would cost to this man.
Right, you have to
possibly have sex with you.
Right, you have to act like it's priceless, because according to him, new pussy, meaning, someone you haven't slept with, is like the biggest kryptonite for dudes, for any dude. Like, it's
enrapturing to us. We have to have it at all times.
Yeah.
The prospect of a new conquest is all that drives us at all. And like that, marketing that is going to get you further than if you've already fucked someone. Yeah.
So this book, like my main issue with this book is that it's demeaning to everyone.
Well, yeah.
It's not even, it's demeaning to everyone, no matter what gender you assign yourself, whether it's a binary male-female thing or something in between. This book makes everyone feel and look like shit.
It's exclusively for like straight relationships too. And
although he takes a question and answer at the back of the book that says, somebody wrote in and was like, could I use this on lesbians? And he was like, sure, you can use this for gay people too. But I really don't know.
I mean, technically, if you took all the gendered language out of it, you could technically use it for anyone that is quite simply thirsty enough to get laid and like has a bank account to spare about it, I suppose.
So this book tells you to target men who are making, I believe, at least $100,000 a year.
Because there's no way anyone making less than that is gonna like honestly have as much wiggle room for some of the gambits that are presented here.
And like at first you're like, wow, that's really fucking weird. Like, why would you go for, like, why would you set the mark that high? And like Per said, the reason is because
there's no point to it if you're not.
Yeah, the book tells you, like, the whole point is, like, you have to get rid of your morals, get rid of any sort of emotions you have. This is business. This is HoTactics.
Be the ice-cold hoe queen that you were born to be.
Because you do not care. In fact, he calls the men in this book marks. So you can work one mark, or he recommends working 2 to 3 marks at a time. So that means you're...
efficiency.
Yeah, you're lying out your fucking ass to 2 or 3 dudes to try to keep them on the hook and keep pretending that you're going to sleep with them but never actually do. So the whole first part of this book...
You're not supposed to.
No. The whole first part of this book...
If you follow his, like, 4 or 5 step plan. This is, by the way, this is like a 6 months to, like, a year-long con, and then you're supposed to, like, just dip out after a certain point or something, after you've, like, drained enough of the money, because eventually they all catch on, is kind of the point that he tries to make.
Well, yeah, and the weird thing is he's like, oh, don't worry, no one will ever know. It's like... Of course people are gonna know, you fucking idiot.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, the immediate circle of friends, maybe, but that if you're in a big enough city, and depending on what circles you run, although rich people definitely, like, have their own circles. But his point, I guess, that he made was that men won't want people to know that they got one pulled over on them. And I there's some merit to that. I think they won't necessarily say how much they've been pulled over one on, so the next guy that heard this story might not be like, oh, it can't be that bad, maybe a couple of gifts and he's just bitter about not hooking up with this girl or something, and they will never like spell out, oh, I gave her $10,000 for something or 20,000. That's what he posits, but like you can't predict every.
No, I don't think like men or people are consistent enough that you can bank on that nobody's gonna out you, especially in this age of social media where people will out you for anything with screenshots and pictures and all kinds of shit.
His point, or his his point is that men won't want to seem like that.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
They got one pulled over on them,
right.
Which again, I guess I don't have enough money to know how people within that circle think or whatever, but you really can't. There's a lot of generalizing in this book about everything. How about, before we get any further, you just read the table of contents?
Oh yeah, so
just read some chapter titles.
All right, so this book is broken into 2 parts. Part 1, Secrets of the Smart Hoe. There's the preface or the preface, whatever. Chapter 1, Hoe World Order. Chapter 2, Why Men Love Hoes. Chapter 3, Being Disciplined Around Dick.
Yeah.
Chapter 4, Pussy Costs. Chapter 5, Treats, Tricks, or Sponsors. Who to Hustle. Chapter 6, How to Flirt the Hoe Way. Chapter 7, How to Seduce the Hoe Way. Chapter 8, Getting Nasty with It. Chapter 9, How to Make Him Fall in Love the Hoe Way. Chapter 10, How to Ask for Gifts, Money, or Favors. Chapter 11, Revenge Hoeing.
Oh no.
Chapter 12, Exit Strategy. Part 2 is The Power of Sex Magic. So his whole thing is that, like, you should be able to get a mark to give you tens of thousands of dollars without ever having sex with them. We're going to talk about why that's probably not true in a few minutes, but these are the sex...
you fucked up, and you've decided to let a dick inside you. How dare you do that?
So the second chapter, so the second section, chapter 13 is, You Had Sex Too Fast. Now what? Chapter 14, Using HoTactics on Your Ex-Boyfriend. Chapter 15, Turning Old Pussy into New Money. Chapter 16, On the Side, Making Her Man Your ATM. Chapter 17, How to Online Date the Hoe Way. Chapter 18, How to Go from Hoe to Housewife. Chapter 19, How to Win the Hoe Way. And chapter 20 is questions and answers. Sorry. Sorry. Questions and
puns,
hoe answers? Yeah, no. So the whole first part of the book...
Can I just say that he got, like... There was, like... When Whole World Order came up, I was kind of excited for some, like, funny pun titles.
No.
But then he just kind of, like, how to blank the hoe way.
Yeah.
How to hoe the hoe way. How to garden the hoe way.
Yeah, it's
how to drive the hoe way. How to pick up your laundry the hoe way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are hoe ways to do all those things, but...
what's a hoe way to pick up your laundry?
I mean, really sexily and enticingly. Like, no
You're
underwear,
just grabbing, like,
long shirt.
Like, boy shorts out of there.
Like, no, everything's on the floor, and you're very slowly and obviously picking up your underwear and dirty socks.
Only around the very well-dressed men that are, like, cleaning suits and stuff, though. Like, all those other guys, like, actually at the laundromat with quarters and shit, fuck those.
Yeah.
Actually, you can't. I don't think you can do laundry the hoe way, because what rich man is going to a laundromat?
Right, that's
You would
true.
have to, like, go up through his maid service or something.
Yeah, no, I meant like, the situation was they were doing laundry in a house.
I want to pitch this chapter to this guy. I'm going to email him and be like, yo, you need to, like...
No.
What if you had a chapter about, like, becoming their maid? Because, I mean, that's the thing that rich people do, right? They fuck the maid a lot.
Yeah, they can. So, all right, so his steps in HoTactics include, when you're looking for a mark, you're not just going to, like, go to the club, right? You're going to try to go places, be places where people with perhaps money might be. So he gives various hoe-examples.
Yep.
That's right. Hoe-examples, but combined into one word. It's like HOXAMPLE, hoe-examples.
Hoe-example.
Hoe-examples. So, he gives the example of Maria the Hoe. And Maria the Hoe
That's
is
his,
actually...
like, standby the whole book is like...
Yeah, Maria the Hoe. And then briefly he gives us a made-up story about Imani the Hoe.
Yep.
So Maria the Hoe is not even on the Hoe clock. She is just in Best Buy. And she decides...
But he makes the point, you should always be ready to hoe at the drop of a heel, I suppose.
Yep. Yeah. So always be ready to...
Constantly on hoe alert.
Yeah, hoe alert. So Maria's just in Best Buy, and she sees a guy looking at not one of the lower end computers, but one of the, like, really high-end laptops or
He's getting some
something.
alien where he's got to do some online gaming with his pals.
No,
Buy a Mountain Dew share, some Doritos. That's how you know he's a real big spender.
Yeah, and so she's like, so she goes up and she feigns stupidity and confusion next to him at another computer, saying like, "Oh, how do these things even work? Like, what's even the difference? I'm so oh my god, computers are just so complicated. I'm gonna faint." It's like one of those scenarios, and so the Mark takes the bait, and they start talking, and she finds a way. The whole point when you're trying to identify a Mark is figure out what they do, figure out where they live, and how much money they make. Because where they live and what they do should probably give you a pretty good ballpark as to how much money they make. And then if you determine that they're worth a first date, you can, go down that road. So, if his example is if the guy says like, "Oh, I'm staying with my mom," or like, "Oh, I live, in this apartment complex and it's not a nice place," like you just give up. You don't even push it. You immediately
be like, "Oh, okay, thanks for the help," and you go about your whole day.
Yep. And no one's the wiser. But let's say Marie hits it off with his Mark. They exchange numbers. He says he lives in a nice part of town.
Gated community.
Right, gated community. Says he works at, I don't know, Amazon, whatever.
IT startup thing or something like where any general job that sounds like it probably makes over six figures, which people can reasonably parse out. Maybe.
Kind of, but
you're supposed to do more research than this anyway.
Right.
Like that.
And so, like on the first date, you have to. I think you're supposed to choose the first date, right? And then you let him choose the second date, and then if he picks a shitty place, you call it off after that.
Yeah, that's part of the initial setup.
You're baiting the guy the whole time to keep giving you the best and choosing the best things in the hopes of, showing that they're willing to spend money on you.
And also just getting him used to the idea that you're a higher class lady that needs expensive treatment and gifts and things of this nature.
Yeah.
You're not going to, even though you're just in a Best Buy, so it's not like you're just
and then let's
buying crystalline computers.
Yeah. Let's talk about the headphone test. So the headphone test is also a preliminary test to decide if the Mark is worth pursuing. I think this is
before date 2 or 3?
Yeah, something like that.
Is this before or after you're sexting with him?
Oh, this is before.
It's before you're sexting with him.
Yeah, this is an early indicator of whether or not the Mark is valid or is
so
viable,
this is even before you've even given him much to work with in the hopes of like,
it.
Oh, he might be into you or something. So you've only maybe flirted with him once or twice,
right? And maybe gone on one date, 1 or 2 dates, and then. So in the run up to the date, because the idea is you're talking or texting a little bit. And you say something like, "Oh no, my damn headphones broke," or "Oh no, my shoe ripped," or
any item that has a decent range of options available to you, from a budget thing to a more expensive version. Nothing too crazy. We're not talking $500 at the gate or something, but maybe something that can go from $20 to $100 or $200.
So what other than headphones could you possibly?
I mean, some shoes, small electronic gadgets. Yeah,
I couldn't really come up with something.
I think that's why he went with headphones, because it's a really good thing that everyone uses. That's in a
So the whole thing is you say casually you're like, "Oh man, my headphones broke." Or, "Oh, I left them on the red line today." And they're supposed to spring to your aid, and or you're supposed to. "Oh, could you just pick me up some headphones when we meet up tonight?"
Yeah, I don't have time to go and get them myself. I'm so busy, because that's another thing is making sure your schedule is he's working around you at all times. Never accommodate to "Oh, when are you available?"
Which is a fair point during normal people dating.
Yeah, during normal people dating.
There are some things in this book that are very, very valid, good advice for somebody who's just starting out dating or hasn't dated in a while. But it's all mired in this awful gendered language. It's very negative for everybody.
The first chapter or 2 have some decent points, but we'll get to that in a second after you explain the headphone test through. So I've lost my HoPhones. I can't get.
Help me replace my HoPhones.
I was listening to HoTactics on audiobook. I'm sorry. That's not what I was.
No.
So, could you just grab me some headphones? And so, depending on what he shows up with.
Or if he shows up with anything at all.
Yeah, so if he shows up with nothing at all, he's like, "Fuck you, bitch." Then you just drop that.
Yep.
If he shows up with something that's $20, or maybe he had an old pair lying around in his house, it's not a new pair or anything. also totally not what you're looking for.
Nope.
But if they show up with like a really nice thing from like the fancier part of Target or Best Buy,
it's basically like Bose or nothing. Like Bose or fancy Apple headphones, like really high end headphones. And if he shows up with anything lower than like, yeah, really nice Bose headphones, then you ditch him.
Yeah.
Like, how fucking crazy is that?
You can get some stuff at Target that's probably like a little cheaper than Bose, but that's still considered like kind of nice. Like your Beats by Dre are like, they're not nice headphones, but they're expensive and stylish.
No. I'm saying, how crazy is it that you would actually think that this would net you anything? I don't think most men would ever buy these headphones.
I disagree.
Well, you're a man, so what does your sex tell you?
Well, I mean, he does have a point that a dude who thinks he's gonna get laid soon is gonna do a lot of things to just make that whole process really smooth.
Right, that's true.
And you're right, the headphone test is a test because a lot of dudes just won't, like, they'll bring you like an old pair they had or like a $20 thing. That's what most dudes will do.
Yeah.
And you're looking for the special one that goes out of his way to treat you already. And if that's happening, then you already know you got someone willing to do this. Because a lot of other stuff in this book is it's presented as like, you're not doing anything really bad because these men are doing it totally willingly. You're not forcing them. You're asking them nicely, and they're doing it. So what's the problem?
And I mean, I think that's a very naive way to look at this whole system, but we'll talk about that once we get through the system. I think.
Honestly, if this said like you should actually fuck to like and like to get this to happen, I would mind it way less because there'd be a lot less lying involved.
Yeah, because at least then you're actually providing what you're preaching, right?
Right. Because you're supposed to be promising sex like almost immediately because you're supposed to be different from other ladies and that you're comfortable with talking about sex stuff.
But you're not going to give it up right away because you're a higher class.
He actually advised you to lie about having some kind of sexual trauma in your recent history,
and that is one of the things
fucking horrific.
That is one of the things that makes me want to burn this book and suggest that it be not printed because you should never be advocating that other people lie about sexual trauma or any kind of I mean, it's just ridiculous.
It's a shitty person thing to do.
Well, yeah, especially since it's hard enough for people who are actually victims of sexual assault and rape to be believed. And to think that there's somebody putting this idea out there that people should lie about this is crazy.
The kind of horrifying thing is, like, compared to some of the other stuff that's being set up here, that's almost a white lie. Not really in that definition, but like he's not really going to check up on that part, I would assume.
You're
supposed to use it to like shut down aggressive sex propositions like immediately because like what guy is going to want to be an asshole and like press on a lady that experienced some recent sexual trauma? And he's like fairly right. Most guys aren't going to be an asshole.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, most people won't, but I still think a lot of people would. And I mean, unless you're a really good actress, it's going to be kind of hard to sell that too. Because if you haven't actually experienced that, you can't just be like, this security guard groped me the other day, meh. And like, I don't know. It just seems really that is definitely probably the biggest issue I have with this book is encouraging people. So G.L. Lambert is telling people to lie about having been sexually assaulted. And I don't know how you can go to sleep at night.
You're supposed to like kind of cleanse yourself of all moral concerns to like get this done. And that's like, I mean, that's capitalism for you, right? He's approaching this from a very like, just get your money, boo. Just do what you need to do to get paid. And that's
this is
semi-valid in a capitalist society.
No, it's not. No, it's a false analogy because you cannot take an economic system and equate it to relationships. Human relationships.
I mean, you're right about that.
Absolutely not.
He explicitly tells you like remove the idea of having a relationship with it. Like, you're not supposed to care about these people or even actually like them. And if there's like the later on chapters like, oh, you actually like him, well, you kind of fucked yourself, lady. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think it's crazy that he's like, oh yeah, I believe strongly in capitalism, and that's just what it's like. No, capitalism is an economic system. Economic systems cannot be compared to human relationships. I'm sorry. It's not
that he's comparing it. He's just saying...
he literally says it. I'm not going to dig into the book right now.
Okay, well, to me, it's more like he's saying, in order to survive in this system, do what you have to do. If this includes lying to men that are so willing to give up their money just in case they might get laid. The marks are portrayed as like suckers, really, that, you're not actually stealing from them or robbing them, so what's the problem? They're the ones paying you money, and you can't get it taken back. He even says later on, like, if they try to get legal with you, it's all gifts, which he's right about.
I mean, he is right about that, but I really think it's a really shitty way to think, to say, well, it's not illegal. You know, like, I hate that. I've seen
so
that
many
around a lot of
assholes
things.
use that to like get away with like, well, I'm not doing anything wrong. It's like, well, you're just making society worse.
Yeah.
You're just you're gonna. This man might think later on that like all women are this way, which is shitty still to do, but you know, don't help that fucking cause.
Yeah, I know, and I just I don't know. So aside from it being a mostly bad advice with a few little, you know, nuggets of good advice, like Chris is saying, it's honestly, I feel like it's self-destructive. It's very easy for this author to say, don't care about people, take all moral concerns out of it, but you're a human being. Like, most people can't do this for more than one or two times. He glosses over a lot
of things. He's like, just don't ignore that. Just don't worry about that.
Yeah.
It's like, that's a huge issue. That's why relationships are messy, dude. Like,
yeah. I mean, and it just seems really crazy to me to say, oh, well, any woman can do this. It's a lifestyle. Like, dude, I'm sorry.
This is one of the things that he contradicts himself on a lot, because he also says, not everyone is cut out for this.
Yeah, he does.
I think the way he's putting it is like, you can if you want to, really. Because don't worry about your physical beauty, because no matter what you look like, you can get this done.
Yeah.
Which is probably true in some ways, you know, depending on...
I mean, I'm sure it is, but HoTactics is just so bad. I mean, again, even if you're looking at it from, I don't know, you can't really look at it from an amoral standpoint, because you're dealing with human beings, and human beings they gravitate towards being moral in some way. Everyone has their own system of rights and wrongs, and I mean, most people would find this wrong, you know, ethically wrong, because you're promising something that you're never going to give in order to get something, and that is stealing.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
I guess in a way, like, yeah.
It, like, definition, what it is stealing. Like, you are promising something that
fraud, I guess.
It is fraud. Well, that's like how I bought that pedal board and never received it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. That's like, if I thought I was purchasing pussy and getting no pussy, then that's also fraud, you know?
He's working with the gray area, because the chapter title Pussy Cost, it's about that, like, every man understands that you're going to have to pay for dates for the most part. Usually it's going to take you some investments to be dating around and eventually get laid or something.
Yeah.
So he wants you to find the person that's willing to expend a whole lot of money to make that happen. And you're kind of exploiting the gray area between, like, well, there's no actual transaction happening here, so I technically don't owe you shit. And it is shitty to think, like, oh, I paid for dinner a couple of times, you owe me some sex. That's definitely not what we're trying to say here.
No.
But you're supposed to be explicit and, like, grab his dick a whole lot and sext him.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's again, Chris makes a good point. You know, we're not saying that because a dude takes you out a couple times or maybe buys you some shoes, you have to fuck him. We're saying you need to be honest about your intentions, and telling this dude, I'm gonna suck your dick, and then never doing it for shoes is pretty messed up.
Kind of mean, just really mean.
Yeah, well, and you said, you know, it's not a transaction, but it's a social contract, and that's what I think this guy is ignoring. Like,
it's a social fraud.
It's a social contract. I mean, seriously, it really is. Like, when you're and
you are supposed to literally be like having phone sex with him after date too.
And this is another thing that I take issue with, is he's like, this is sex free, but it's not, because you know what? Many people would consider phone sex to be sexual. And secondly, grabbing someone's dick and giving him a handjob in a car is sexual.
That's about as far as he wants you to go. Like, I don't understand why the handjob doesn't count, but like his line seems to be like the blowjob. It was like, you've done it, or
so I just think that a lot of people have a pretty strict definition of sex and sexual activity, and they would consider that engaging in some sexual activity. I mean, I think anybody would. It's not having intercourse.
Sure, but like, it's, I guess, less bad than like actually having to deal with a dick or something. Like, you know.
I don't know. I just think that he's selling this as like a sexless system, the first part of the book, when in reality, he's telling you that you have to talk dirty to them and talk about sexual experiences, have literal phone sex, and also maybe give this dude not a blowjob, a hand job, and rub his dick under a table and in the car. Like, I don't think that's sexless. Car? What kind of... No, a table or the car.
Oh yeah, I know.
But my point being is, false advertising, it's not a sexless system. There are sexual things that need to happen, because without doing any of those things, how are they ever going to believe that you're actually going to have sex with them?
Yeah, I get
like there's no way you would not be able to do it.
You could probably remove the hand job and get away with it with some dudes. I guess as long as you give them like a crotch rub, or he also encourages, like, you know, dancing with them and
like rubbing your ass on their dick and stuff. Yeah.
So like there is definitely contact. Like, it's not like you're gonna read this book and like not have to fucking touch anybody ever.
Well, and that's what it makes it seem like, though. Like in his in the description of the book and in the preface or prologue, whatever. it definitely is marketed as totally sex free. You won't have to do anything. And it's like, no, that's not true. You have to do a bunch of things that are surface level or step one sexual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that sucks. And then the second part is like, oh no.
You're not supposed to suck, Paris. You're not supposed to suck.
I know. But the second part is like, oh no, you had sex, or oh, maybe you just want to up the game because you want this to last longer, or you feel like you just want to have sex, and how to kind of handle that.
He treats it in a very like, oh well, you done did it. I know I told you not to do it, but you hoes can't control yourselves. You can't control yourselves. That's what the dick discipline is about. There's a whole chapter about just focus on not sucking it. Like, just think about as hard as you can about not fucking him.
Think about Barney Gumble in a bikini. Yeah, I
some people might like that, Paris, though. Maybe
it's true, but yeah, the book, I mean, that's another way the book is demeaning, is it assumes that all men and women just can't help but fuck each other. They have no discipline, no self-respect. I mean, there's nothing wrong with sex, but the way that he paints it is that people are just mad with lust. Like, they have no other aspect of their personality. Those are the only things that exist for both men and women. It's so fucking one-dimensional. Like,
it's definitely the only part that's relevant to the book or whatever. So it's probably speaking more to that than anything else. But yeah, he does portray... Here's another contradiction that he has in that he says men will always think this way. Like, they'll always, they always want that new pussy instead of old one. Men will always yada yada this. Men always got to have, the hottest girl around or whatever. And then earlier on, he's talking about men that won't provide for you in this way, or like that won't deal with this game. So that means not all dudes are this way, right? So is it a special dude, or is it all dudes? He has
a really... I mean, this book is not very coherently written. There are a lot of typos, grammatical errors, spelling mistakes. I think
up front in that beginning, you might have noticed I said, "Are you sick of the bias male rules?"
Yeah, not biased, bias.
In fact, there was another one there too.
I'm sure there was. There were quite a few.
Countless women play by the bias male rules of dating and relationships. One that keeps them in a constant state of stress and worry. One rule. There's one biased male rule.
Yeah, he has a really hard time constructing sentences and like handling semicolons and dashes. He just can't handle it. And this book is written in, it's a dude writing this book, and that's probably one of the things that also irks me a lot.
I mean, the tone is one of like, I'm telling you like it is, girl. Like, it's harsh truths. And I really hate that people use that tone a lot to sell you on bullshit a lot. Right. It's like, you're not going to like hearing this, and that means it's true. Not fucking really.
No, it doesn't.
That's what like sells people on like conspiracy theories and shit. The Earth is flat because that seems like what they don't want you to know. Yep. NASA's keeping this all under wraps.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like the Illuminati and the aliens. That's like HoTactics. It's all hidden in the secret library underneath Congress.
Yeah, if you keep going into like the HoTactics series or whatever, eventually it leads you down to like a fucking basement under the Library of Congress where you achieve like the Ho Infinity Gems or something.
Yeah. This guy...
Absolute Ho control.
This guy has also written a book called Solving Single, which I think is how to get married.
So that's like the opposite thing where like that's your actual relationship advice book.
Yeah.
And I bet there's a whole lot of stuff in there about manipulating men into like trapping them. I 100% guarantee you there's a chapter about like get pregnant.
Well, interestingly enough, in this book, he talks down on a Ho fail where the hoe got herself pregnant and then tried to blackmail the guy. And he was like, never do that. That's just stupid. But who knows if that's really true. He said it was a true story, but I don't believe anything this guy says. So, and there's another hoe example of online dating. So, first of all, he discourages online dating. In fact, he has some pretty strong words. I think he says...
it's all mostly bullshit, and you only get like bald fat guys that are unattractive. Like there might be sugar daddy sites, but the men on those sites know that they're shitty, so like they're not going to try as hard as someone that doesn't know they're being pulled into this.
Yeah, because lying is the best fucking policy. It says, fuck online dating sites. Sure, there are ballers on Match.com, eHarmony, maybe even black people meet, but it's a needle in a haystack search, and you don't have hours to waste inboxing and dating internet frauds. And it's like...
Your entire steez here is an internet fraud.
Yeah, I was like, wait, you're talking down on people who are frauds? Because this whole book tells you to be a fraud.
Well, I think that's another thing of people who are shitty. They assume everyone else is like that too.
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, if you just want to fuck a fat bald guy for a few $1,000s, knock yourself out. Or there's always Craigslist if the threat of murder doesn't scare you, dude. you're basically telling women to fuck a fat old bald guy for several $1,000s anyway. There really isn't a difference here, except that the con goes on longer. That's about it. I mean,
and that you're not upfront about it like you would be on, I guess, one of those sugar daddy sites or something like that.
Yeah, and then he says, so if I'm anti-dating site, how can I show you how to land a treat, trick, or sponsor online? Oh man,
because I need to pad this book out.
Yeah, well, actually, we didn't even tell them what the difference is. We'll get there. Let me introduce the greatest hoe thirst trap invention since the Wonder Bra, social networking. And he gives this ridiculous fake story. I
disagree. The Wonder Bra is definitely not the best hoe.
No, those are stupid.
It's boy shorts, actually. So
boy shorts, interesting. Those are my favorite kind of underwear, so that's weird. I don't know, they're just really comfortable and they don't seem sexy. Weird.
Everything is sexy.
Okay, well, now that I'm scared.
Sorry, I guess I'm the creep now. What I mean is that no matter what you think, there's a dude out there that's like, I'm into that. Have you heard about the latest kind of trend thing in like sort of your anime type of things? It's focusing a lot on when a lady has knee-high socks or like thigh-high socks, and if they're a little chubby, there's like the little roll of like extra skin that goes over. That they're like, people are hyper focusing on that lately as like a point.
I hate the internet so bad.
I agree with them, but that's besides the point. But it's the hyper focusing on it that gets me weird.
I was gonna say
it's nice to look at when I see it, but like
you don't
the
need
fact that we have to have a word for it now and a subreddit dedicated to it, like
that's awful. Yeah, it's like it's one thing, everyone's gonna, like you're saying, everyone's gonna have certain things that they find attractive in those who they're attracted to, and that's fine. But yeah, fetishizing it is just fucking unnecessary. But
eventually it's gonna be like, oh man, the way their hair goes through the back of a baseball hat.
Yeah, like
that ponytail guy.
Yeah.
I actually found one that was like, side note here, I think this is kind of relevant. I found one that was like way too fucking specific. You
feel like they had leg like roll isn't specific?
No, they had like a word. Okay, so it's let me see if you can guess what this means.
Oh Jesus!
It's called a simp. What do you think a simp is, Paris?
Simp? Like
it's a
physical
physical feature or a trait that a lady can have.
Simp. Is it like a deepened where people get their Monroe pierced? It's like that
You're nowhere near the correct body part at all.
Oh shit!
You're nowhere near the correct body part at all.
I don't know. Is it an ankle dimple?
No, not at all.
God,
okay, so I'm just going to reveal this to you. So, it is when
I hate my life.
A woman with what is considered, I guess, an innie vagina. You know, the one where like
what?
Okay, so there's innies and outies, right?
What are you talking about? Vaginas are vaginas.
Okay, so there's the kind you might have your labia that's more out and like in front like that, and some people kind of have it like more like the majora is covering everything.
Oh, you're saying that the labia minor or inner flaps
they don't
longer?
show. Yeah, they don't show. A simp is when the majora part is like pretty much entirely covering things, so that it looks like Homer Simpson's jaw.
Oh my god! I want to be dead. I want to be dead. Wait, where's that bottle opener shaped like a hammer you got? I'm gonna kill myself right now because I don't want to be alive.
That's totally not what you expected it to go for, right? Yeah, so
sorry guys, I need a second.
That's kind of not what this book is about at all, but I just had to go off on this tangent and let you know that I discovered this the other day, and I was like, this is a very unnecessary like vocabulary level that we had to get to.
Yeah, and I just, oh god.
Explicitly a Homer Simpson comparison, which is like kind of the hilarious point for me. Anyway, back to slut strategies or whatever we're talking about here.
Well, you're doing the rest of this podcast by yourself because I'm going to kill myself.
All right, cool. All right, anyway.
Back to the actual book.
HoTactics.
G.L. Lambert, the author.
We were talking about online dating a second ago. That's why.
He gives this example of what you do if you want to hoe on social networking. So he gives an example of this girl named Imani, and this is fictional, who wants to move out on her own by January, and it's September or October, I forget. And she's like, oh no, I can't afford, a down payment on an apartment, like, first class security, whatever. So I'm gonna try to pick up a sugar daddy. Now, what Imani is looking for is a sponsor. Someone who is willing to spend
thousands and thousands,
tens of thousands, if not millions of dollars on you. Trick is somebody who's willing to spend hundreds, some thousands of dollars, and a treat is just somebody who's willing to maybe take you out.
Like a one-off kind of,
Like if you just like getting your meals paid for. I actually know a girl who does this.
There's plenty of girls that do that.
She has a boyfriend, but she goes on Tinder dates just to get free dinner all the time. Yeah.
These people exist.
Fucked up. But that's a pretty low level and like not really committal because you're not
pretty sure that's happened to me a couple
of
times, but like,
yeah, but it's like
I'm not gonna get upset about it, and honestly,
no, because that person wasn't rubbing your dick under the table, probably. So
no, that doesn't really happen for first date.
First date, right? So whatever. So the treat level is like somebody that's just willing to take you out sometimes, maybe get you a mid-level pair of shoes. He says Aldo's, not Jimmy Choo's or something.
No.
Not that I know fucking anything about shoes. And like the treat level is, or the trick level, sorry, is somebody that's
get it right, Pat,
sorry,
please, God.
He didn't even use different letters for the first two. It's hard.
You can only do this on Halloween, by the way.
Yeah, the trick level,
trick or treat or sponsor.
The trick level is where they're willing to buy you like a new $300 dress and $400 shoes because you have a fancy gala to attend, and then pay for your vacation the next month. So I feel like that level is already pretty fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And then the sponsor level is like they're willing to give you hundreds of thousands of dollars to start your own business.
Like a new apartment, new cars and shit. Like,
yeah, to pay your bills month to month is what the sponsor level is. So Imani the hoe is trying to get a sponsor. So she takes the best Instagram picture she can. Changes all of her social media sites to these new pictures that look wonderful, and he encourages women to emphasize their best trait. Sure, that's fine. That's true.
That's normal human being marketing yourself.
Like, you got beautiful eyes, great. Focus on the eyes, whatever. So, and then Imani goes on Instagram and she's thinking, she's strategizing. Where can I find a good sponsor? And she thinks, okay, maybe I'll go for an athlete. Athletes are wealthy. Professional level. And now it's basketball season, so she doesn't want to go for a basketball star because he's too busy right now.
Yeah, he's playing games on the road.
She thinks, it's off season for baseball. So I don't know. I don't really know if any of this is true, but she's like, okay, so she starts
past October, then it's off season for baseball. She
starts looking for baseball players to stalk online, and she finds this one guy who she thinks is a good prospect because he's not like what's a famous baseball guy? Do you
Mark McGwire,
sure.
David Ortiz.
Yeah, so he's not
Kevin Euclid.
He's not David Ortiz level. He plays for like the Pittsburgh Pirates or something, like
middle league. Maybe he's a rookie,
right? Yeah. So somebody who's not going to be surrounded by star fuckers, as he calls them.
Yeah.
So easier prey in that you're not going to have a bunch of
someone
women
that's on the bench a lot, or
Yeah. So but Imani's a smart hoe. You see, she doesn't just vapidly like his pictures and say he's cute or just hope for a like back. She engages him in sports conversation and she obtains this knowledge by doing some Google searching. So I actually think that is pretty smart to actually pretend that because she says something, how many innings how many games
did you touchdown last night?
That would be me. I'd be like, how many touchdowns
did you kick the ball, basketball man, into the hoop?
Yeah, that would be me. I don't understand anything. So she asked him like, how many games do you think the World Series is going to go to this year? And she tags him in it, and he asked to respond.
Any pithy conversation that's sports related, because oh my god, a woman that likes sports,
right?
So unique and different.
They get into a short conversation, and then he follows her back, and that's when she knows she's done it well.
Yes,
and then it quickly
then you slide into the DMs as any normal
quickly ends up direct messaging. She direct messages him or he direct messages her. I forget how it works. And and they go back and forth, and soon he's coming to visit her, and then he's paying for her security deposit, first and last rent by January. And it's like
there's a lot of in between there that you kind of like skipped over where like a lot of like managing your social network things. So like, once you have them on the hook, then take back all the sexier pictures. Like, stop posting sexy pictures because you're supposed to be constantly like, posting good-looking pictures to like get men
to
interested
entice
in you.
people. Yeah.
But then when you might have him on the hook, that's when you like tone it down because you want him to kind of feel special about it or something. I think
you
is the
always.
deal.
So the deal in this book is you always want men to think that your pussy is only theirs and that you don't care what they do and they can put their dick wherever they want because that's what all men want. You see. So there's that, and I don't know, and they were like, oh, you don't even really need to send like nudes or anything, and I'm like, I really doubt that some baseball player from Pittsburgh, and the other conceit to this is like she lives in a different state too, so it's even weirder that this would happen. I don't know.
I guess his point is that, especially with athletes, there's a lot more of them than you would think. A lot of them aren't as well known, so that some of them are going to be vulnerable to this because they have a lot of new money to spend.
Yep.
They want some kind of eye candy trophy lady to be, seen around with or something like that. And you need to take advantage of that. And the internet thing by not just hoeing around on your average dating site, but going for the fucking gold in, like off-season baseball players, I guess.
Right,
or something
that's
like that.
the gold.
And I want to come back to the point I said where, like, you're supposed to be, not just in this situation, but in a lot of other situations, presenting yourself as a woman that's different. And the way you're different is that, like, you're open sexually. It basically is what it amounts to.
You're open to talking about sexual things and your sexual history, but you lie about it. So you're not really open because you're lying the whole fucking time. I mean, because he tells you, never tell them you've been with more than 2 guys.
Yeah.
Never go over 2. And it's like, if you're 30 years old, that's just ridiculous.
But he does say, like, this book is probably targeted toward, like, late 20s, early 30s tops. Like, after that, you're supposed to start retiring the hoe game or something like that.
Yeah.
But what was the point I was just making?
About choosing the right mark.
I think so. I'm sorry. I got kind of off track here.
It's fine. It's all dumb bullshit anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, hopefully you realize at this point in the podcast that we're just spewing garbage at you from this book. I mean, it's just awful.
Just lie as much as you can and manipulate people into thinking that you're going to have sex with them in order to gain a monetary advantage.
I mean, this book literally tells, like we're saying, it literally tells you to do things like rub a man's genitals under a table or in a car and whisper things like, oh, you make me so wet. Oh my God.
This is what okay, now I remember what I was talking about now.
Oh, Jesus. You gotta be, like, you have to be such a good actress to pull this shit off.
The unique thing there is, he's saying that, oh, you're unique because you're nasty like that. Like, you can get down that way. And it's like, that's not, I've met plenty of women that are that.
Oh, and the whole thing is you're supposed to be very no stress. You don't want titles. You don't want to be the girlfriend. You want to play video games after sex. You want to be the most no stress thing because that's what men love. It's like, that's what anyone wants no stress, but I don't know. It drives me insane.
Like I said, there's a lot of stuff there was like, oh, you're playing video games with him. That's so different. Like, I know plenty of women that play video games with their boyfriends or friends, like, without a fucking weird issue about it. Any man that's like, oh my God, a lady that doesn't, like, needs to really catch up with the rest of everyone else here where...
Right. Oh, yeah, you're so different because you're literally sucking the life out of him. That's what makes you different. I mean, it even tells you to straight up ask for a vacation.
Yep. Just, hey, me and my girls, like, for multiple, like, your friends and shit, too.
Yeah.
Which is
me and my girls are supposed to go to Miami, but I had to pay my rent, and
I want to really go, and
I can't go. And you're supposed to be so distraught. You don't want to talk sexy. You don't want to go anywhere. You're supposed to be so distraught that he pays for your plane ticket and all that shit. It's like,
you're supposed to be this, like, kind of, like, begging, pleading. The way it's described in this is, like, his little sister that he wants to protect because all men have this instinct to protect their little sister that is like different somehow from like wanting to protect your people that you love. I get. Like,
well, no, they're saying it's this weird. The little sister relationship is weird because there's like a sexual desire there and also a very protective instinct. And he was like, well, it's not always a sexual desire. It's like, well, obviously, because that's the example you're using for this book about sexual desires.
There's also a lot of like daddy talk in this.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of daddy mommy shit. Oh God, this book.
It's got to get some of that fun stuff in there.
Well, anyway, this book is hot garbage, but
there's plenty more to talk about in here. Let me take a look at the chapter.
No, I was going to say, so we read a couple of there were a lot of reviews of this book on Amazon or wherever we got this from. I think it was Amazon.
Yes, it was.
And so many people were like, this book is amazing. I have like this many marks and it's so great. And I'm just like,
I mean, a good portion of those are probably paid reviews.
oh yeah. I don't think a lot of them are real.
Some of them, I mean, some of them must be real if it's a decently selling book or whatever.
Yeah.
And now you just have people like, exclaiming in the comments about like, oh man, I fucked over so many dudes.
Yeah.
I've been an asshole to so many people, you guys, and I'm so rich now because of it. Is that what we should all be doing in America now? Just embracing the asshole and just getting as much money as we can because everyone else is doing it or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I personally find it distasteful, and it's really hard for me to be objective, I guess, because it makes me so upset.
Now that I'm looking at this, why are there two separate chapters for how to flirt the whole way and how to seduce the whole way?
I don't know.
What's the difference? I guess flirt is the intro one, and seduce is like that's when you're touching on him and shit.
So flirting is when you're like first meeting a mark and you want to do like good eye contact and like casual body language and all this stuff.
That's actually like decent advice for flirting.
Yeah.
Like, have open body language. Stand closer to them and like see if they get wary or not.
Right, and we've said this
touch an elbow maybe. That's like about as far as it actually he says to go in the initial stages, which is fine.
Yeah, and we talked about this a little bit at the beginning about how like the beginning of the book actually does have some good advice because it says you should be confident, you should always believe in yourself, you should think you're sexy and your pussy is priceless, and like there is value in that. But then to say, oh, and because of that you should fuck over all men, no, that doesn't follow. Like, what?
Not all men, just your marks, I guess.
I mean,
if people have self-respect and aren't willing to do this for you, then ignore them.
Yeah, and it's just like, how are you? I don't know. This guy is just... I would love to interview this author. I would love to.
Revenge hoeing was a pretty good chapter, because it basically said, like, don't do that shit.
I don't remember what that was about.
It was basically, it says, like, don't get all bitter because, like, someone broke up with you, or, like, your ex-boyfriend. Like, don't try to hoe around on them.
Yeah,
the next chapter, exit strategy, I think it was pretty clear. It was just, like, just ghost the dude. Like, there's not really any special things involved there.
Just stop
just
answering.
Do the slow fade, which like isn't a brand new strategy or anything. Right. So like, thanks a lot.
Oh yeah, the other thing that was interesting about this is that you're never supposed to let them know where you live.
Yeah.
Which I'm pretty sure somebody would be incredibly suspicious if they had been dating you for 4 months and had no idea where you lived.
Sure, but by then that's like the end stage of the thing. So like by the time they're getting suspicious is when the exit strategy is supposed to be deployed, I guess. And again, he advises like 6 months to a year tops.
Tops, yeah.
I don't know if there's like any speedrunners out there that like I can get all done under a month, dude. Don't worry about it.
And it's funny because he's at the beginning.
I found a glitch where if you grab a guy's dick from behind really quickly and just steal his wallet, you can get a lot further.
Honestly, straight up pickpocketing is a more honest game than this shit. Like, if Chris is not far from the truth.
I want to see like a hoe games done quick now, where it's just like women saying like, I found out that actually if I just stole his credit card and used it immediately, I get results much quicker
and without all the guilt.
Yeah.
But then I got arrested for credit card fraud.
Yeah, well,
I mean, and that's I'm trying to remember what else I want to talk about in this book.
I liked the chapter about like using HoTactics on your ex-boyfriend, kind of a thing.
Oh, how to turn old pussy into new money.
No, that was a separate one actually. The ex-boyfriend one was an entirely separate. But again, it was mostly the same thing where it's like you have to present yourself as like, oh, I've learned so much more in the interim, and I'm like more laid back.
You're a totally different person. You don't move the same. You don't talk the same. You don't look the same. And it's like you have to kind of prepare for that. I don't think you could just run into them.
It has to be a very specific kind of ex-boyfriend that you're still like amicable with. Like I think he even says like someone that you only went out with like a couple of times and it's still fine.
Yeah.
I guess so. Like a reasonable human being that wasn't an asshole to you after you broke up, but you want to be an asshole,
right? Yeah. Like what? Yeah, I mean, it's just a very strange...
it's not strange, it's just like...
I think it's strange.
I don't think it's strange because it's just being an asshole.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people that are willing to be assholes, I guess, for especially just to get money and rent. And, getting rent is important and shit, but like...
But like, how do you not have a job, bro?
Getting a good paying job is, might be harder than just doing this to a guy.
I feel like this is way harder than work. I would much rather go to my work
I think
every
that's
day.
only because you have a conscience. Like, it's much harder on your conscience.
No, because he advocates having 2 or 3 marks at a time. I can't keep track of all those lies. That's too many lies.
If you have the same story for like they don't know each other, you can just deploy the same lies.
No, but you can't, because then if they meet or like somehow know each other, your fucking jig is up, man.
Well, you're not supposed to do that at all. Like that's probably like implied that you date guys from like wildly different social circles or something.
But like, if you're exclusively looking for fucking 100,000-aires and millionaires, like,
yeah, but not all lawyers and all doctors know each other, you know.
No,
like,
of course not. But the whole thing is to like go to galas with them and go on cruises, and honestly, I don't think that this system works for more. Somebody could maybe do it for a year.
Well, that's what he says.
No, I'm saying, like, I don't think somebody could do this for, like, 10 years. I don't think so.
If they kept moving cities, maybe.
If they kept moving cities, yes. But you would have to be serial killer level to be doing shit like that.
That's kind of what he advocates. He's like, just being ice cold to everything and, like, never consider what you're actually doing to people.
Well, and also think about, like I said, it's impossible. It's really weird that he writes this book like this because he's forgetting that people are human beings. I mean, people have emotional needs. You can try to be as cold as you want, but like deep down, after you finish that fake phone sex call, 10 minutes later, you're probably going to be like, damn, I'm lonely.
Yeah. Because
you don't actually like that guy and you're just it's a job. Like, if everything you do in your social interactions is to get money, it becomes your job. So how do you fulfill your emotional and sexual needs when they're not being met by these people who are your marks?
I guess the prerequisite is to just be a sociopath.
I think so.
That's just what you have to be if you want this to not... If you want this to work out and not affect you.
But I mean, and I just think it's interesting that he's like, oh, this is an empowering thing to women. It's like, no, because women doing things like this is why people don't respect women. Like, this isn't empowering women. This is setting them up to fail.
I wouldn't say that this is why people don't respect women. But
I think it's one of the reasons.
It's an excuse that a lot of guys use. Like, they're all hoes anyway. They're all out to get my money anyway. So like, why should I respect them?
Well, and that's what I mean. Like, I think it's one of the many shades of, you know, stupid hoe, whatever. You know, this is the gold digger, stupid hoe. I'm just using the vernacular of the book. You know, and it's just ridiculous. I mean,
I'm picturing you like opening like an Urban Dictionary like in print and being like, the vernacular about stupid hoes.
Yeah. No, I mean, again, yes, is it empowering to think of yourself as confident and able to fulfill your goals? Yes.
And using your body confidently and like...
but
it's not necessarily empowering just because you take advantage... A lot of people think empowerment means being able to take advantage of others.
Right, and I don't think that's... I don't believe that. And I think that's one of the failures.
Empowering should mostly just be entirely about self-confidence.
And, you know, not letting others take advantage of you, which he advocates, but he does that by going to the extreme of saying, well, then you have to...
You get over on them first, motherfucker.
It's like, dog eat dog, right? That's his whole thing. He even calls men dogs and says you have to give them doggy treats, which are kisses.
So that's definitely like a certain, like, you're gonna have to kiss them, which
is again another level of like sexual contact, because he tells people, oh, the first kiss is like just a regular kiss. The second one, though, oh, you gotta suck on the bottom lip and fucking lick around his mouth. Oh, God. Like, if you don't really like a guy, yeah, like I said, you gotta be a fucking A+ actress to get away with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, I guess if you're doing that, like, is it really that much worse to suck a dick at that point to keep it going? I mean, like...
Yeah, it's... I don't know. So anyway, I have many, many, many problems with this book, as I have said many times. Ultimately, I don't even think it would really work. I would love to hear from... Please, hoes out there, if you're listening to this, tell me your stories.
Yes,
provide me with evidence, because I don't believe this. I do not think that this would work.
Do you think it's improbable or impossible?
I think it's highly improbable, and the only times it would be possible are in the situations where you have, I don't know, some 45-year-old, 50-year-old aging lawyer whose wife died and he just wants a young girlfriend, and he's willing to throw all of his extra money at her. But that's not your everyday scenario. That's not the scenario that they're peddling. They're peddling you can pick a markup at Best Buy and fucking, you can just get your rent paid in 2 months from this guy you meet at Best Buy? Like, fuck no. That is not happening. Like, I just don't... Like, I believe that men are willing to maybe buy you nice headphones, maybe nice shoes, maybe take you out on some dates. Are they gonna pay your fucking rent and your car payment? Absolutely fucking not. No, they're not doing that.
Especially nowadays when, like, most people, like, are living with roommates and shit. Like, you're not gonna, like, also throw some cash down so this, like, lady that you might fuck it can have a car payment. Like,
yeah, that seems crazy.
If you're getting a car payment out of me, I better have been inside you a few times. Like, I'm sorry.
I mean,
might seem a little harsh.
No,
but...
I was about to say the same thing. I mean, I could never imagine giving, a loan to someone or paying their car payment if they were
good
just
friends
stringing
too.
me
I mean,
along.
yeah, you have good friends, but you're not playing
different.
them with like, I'll rub your dick later if you.
yeah. I mean,
go up to my friends like, hey, can I have some rent payment? I'll like suck your dick later.
Yeah, like exactly. In that scenario, somebody really is giving you money freely, knowing you'll pay it back because they trust you.
This is explicitly in the boundaries of sexual relationships and not just like taking advantage of your friends.
Yeah. I mean, and to say like some dude you met 3 months ago is going to be paying for your down payment first and last on an apartment. It's just not.
You have to be really like more than just six figures. Like you have to be making like well into like 500,000 a year probably.
Yeah,
to, like,
I mean that
even like think like, oh yeah, whatever. I'll just drop an apartment on this bitch and
yeah. I mean it's very. I feel like under 1% of the time is this actually going to work ever.
I guess when it really works, though, it really works, so it might be worth it technically. But then again, like also doing this for like a rent payment seems like, what do you rent? Like just put the mortgage down at this point.
Well, yeah, and also like, how do you not have a regular job? Like, just get a job. Work at Starbucks. It sucks and it's demeaning, but it's not as demeaning as this. Like,
I wouldn't even call Starbucks like as demeaning. Like it, demeaning.
I just chose something at random.
In the demeaning nature that working as a wage slave in capitalist society is, in that way, not like.
Well, no, and it's I don't know. It's like, oh, well, this is far less demeaning than having a job. And he's like, oh, well, you can have your regular job to. You can use your regular job to start your jewelry line, and it's like. What?
I'm imagining someone that does have a very regular retail job, like what you know is like they worked at that Best Buy before, like they were there on the off day, and then like he comes back in there later, like after you run your mark on him, he's like, Maria, and you're like, oh fuck,
yeah. No, I am Esenia.
No English.
No English. But you look just like no.
You promised me.
Your name tag says Maria. No. Does not.
You sent me a titty pic from the bathroom of this Best Buy.
Yeah, I saw that name tag.
Yeah.
Fuck. I'm sorry. I lost my.
I mean, we pretty much
thought.
covered HoTactics at this point. This is kind of a shorter episode, thank God.
Yeah, I mean, the book, honestly,
it was like 200 pages, and it said the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Did you learn any tactics to use? Perhaps? Did you learn any HoTactics that you think you will use?
No, I was just offended because he talked down on well-educated women who took care of themselves.
Yeah, he very like people that are like self-sufficient is like they're just suckers because they're trying to play by the rules, and like they're just stupid because they want a normal relationship and they're looking for a regular guy that's gonna like go have these with them on dinner and shit. Yeah. He's like, those fucking suckers, like they should be demanding all your dinners paid for all the time. It's like, I guess you can look at it that way if you're an asshole and a shitty person.
Yeah, I felt offended because I hate when men pay for things. I don't let men pay for things for me because I feel like that automatically means there's an expectation of sex. And I don't want that to be the case. And it
depends on the guy, because like I definitely offer to pay on every first date that I'm on, which has resulted in me paying more than I'm pretty sure there was that one time I spent $90 that I will never forget. But
what? Where the fuck did you go?
We had some beer flights. It was at the Sunset. Like,
how the fuck did you?
I don't fuck. The tip added up, dude. I didn't realize how much beer I had.
Yeah, dude, beer is. I mean, Sunset does have a lot of good beer. Sorry. Anyway,
I was perhaps conned a little.
Yeah, you were. That was a HoTactic. You got hoed for $90.
Maybe.
But anyway, he was just saying like, sorry, I got sidetracked. I was saying, when I've been on dates, I really don't like to have. I will not let anyone pay for everything. I will either split or
at least a tip or something,
or either split or I pay for it.
Or if you're going out for dessert after, you'll get the dessert.
Yeah. Like I feel like it should be equitable. You should be on the same playing field.
I'll buy the condoms on the way.
Well, yeah, because the second one person is buying everything or making all the decisions, it's a power play, and that's never good. Like if you sit down and someone's like, "I'm ordering your meal," it's like, "Whoa, fucking calm the hell down!" Like no.
My protocol has always been like I'll offer to pay on the first date, and then the second date I kind of like, if that happens, I'll like wait a little bit to see if they're willing to like cough up, I guess, is like not the right word, but I just want to see if they're like.
Yeah, I would definitely be wary if I went on a date with somebody 3 times and they just made me pay. I'd be like, okay, this isn't like, that's not cool, but I think going half is fine. And
I'll still treat my girlfriend like,
sometimes
I'm not keeping track all the time. It's not about that. It's about just like being reasonable about shit.
Yeah, being reasonable, exactly. Being equitable
and not having a dumb idea about like, well, you're the man and you should therefore be the one because tradition and stuff like that. That's also the other thing. Like, that's why I offer to pay. Like, if I get that 2 times or 3 times in a row, I probably aren't. It's not a deal breaker for me, but
it would be a deal breaker for me if
especially since I'm like kind of not exactly wealthy at all, so I can't be paying for dates all the time.
Exactly. I mean, that's the same with me. Like, we would never be a target of HoTactics because we're both poor as fuck. So it's like, maybe we need to interview a rich person.
I guess if you do have that much money, like, why not just like spend that money? But then just why not go directly to an escort service? And like, I feel like that's even more honest and open. Like, you could have a decent conversation maybe with the escort, and
that's the problem with this system is that these men don't know. They're like honestly looking for, a girlfriend or a wife or like a consistent someone to see, and there is
a chapter about being the side hoe, which is like, you have to be the fun one all the time. Like, don't denigrate his relationship. You want them to stay together at all times.
Oh yeah, they will. That's one of the funnier parts is he's like, don't ever let him leave his wife. Yeah. Because then you're going to be the wife and he's going to have a different side hoe. Exactly. You want to stay the side hoe.
Which is like, he did think this through, I think. Like, in the rules of his own reality, that part makes sense.
I just think that you can't write a book like this if you're not a hoe. If you're not employing HoTactics as a hoe, how could you possibly write me a book called HoTactics?
Because you're the man, and therefore you know that all men are mad with lust at all times about everything. Well, he's totally driven by a penis.
Well, he's like, oh, I've done this to win. It's like, no, it's not. I don't believe it.
I'm not gonna lie. There's definitely a lot of stuff I've done that have been penis motivated, and perhaps even some like major decisions in my life have like come under that effect in some ways.
Oh no!
But like,
Chris, is this why you're poor? Your penis drove you to poverty?
Yeah, I did not employ the correct dick tactics, and here I am.
Yeah, that's right. He calls the male version of this dick tactics, and he's like,
it's kind of lazy to me.
He's like. Men are using dick tactics on you right now. He's like Alex Jones
you're
again.
Under
like
assault.
You're under assault. Dicks are falling from the sky. Shelter. Like, it's like, okay, man, calm down.
In the whole army tents, is like, all right, ladies, let's line up. We gotta form a strategy here. We've been being assaulted by the long ones from the rear, and the thick ones have been coming from all sides. So we need to stay disciplined, ladies, and drain them of their money, not the semen.
Yes. Oh, hand me the book. I want to look at some of the Q&As, because did you read the Q&As in the back?
I think I kind of like skimmed them for a second, because I honestly finished that book like about 30 minutes before I handed it to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, this Q&A feels like he's just going to sell me more on like, where were some other books by you that I can buy?
Maybe I should read you the end of this.
Sure. Yeah, let's see if...
HoTactics isn't about tricks or games, it's about insight. Know what a man values and show him that you can give him all of those things. But unlike typical girls that usually exchange affection for relationship titles, you aren't worried about being his girlfriend. You will fuck his brains out and not act crazy the next day. You will go out with him to hang with the fellas and not be a buzzkill. You will be there late at night to help him beat off over the phone and not feel like you're being used. You will bring up the other women, but let him know that you aren't jealous or threatened. All of these too good to be true things which men wish they had in a female friend, you provide. At a cost.
But like...
The reveal is that by the time you bill him for your time and companionship, he won't realize he's being billed. There are men that pay money straight up and expect certain things from a woman as if she's a member of his staff. That's not the smart hoe way. You never want to give a man's checkbook power over you as if you're a prostitute. The solution is never to let him know that this is pay for play and continue to build the illusion that you agree to be his fun time toy because you like him. Men will always be skeptical and question why a woman is on his dick both figuratively and literally. However, as a smart hoe, your main job is to stroke his ego until that skepticism or belief that you are only with him because of what he can do for you vanishes. Once a trick buys into your role as lover, friend, sister, then you begin to ask for the things you want.
What a horrible combo.
I repeat for the 50,11th time, I don't know what that number is supposed to be.
Silly joke.
It's not tricking if you got it. Men with money blow paper on all types of hobbyist things or ego-stroking trinkets. To be his fantasy woman that has made him both full of lust and love means that you will get anything you want, because making you happy means you will continue to make him happy. Study this book, highlight this book, and refer back to it often until you understand the power a sexualized personality has over men. No matter if you're a woman looking to get a boyfriend to treat her once in a while, or a single lady who is ready to turn to the hoe side of the force, you will not be denied. Right?
Come to the hoe side.
Dude, this sentence. Right is a direction and wrong is an opinion. Men have been manipulating women. Men have been manipulating women since the dawn of time. So study these tactics, apply these techniques, and even up the battle between the sexes until you get what you deserve.
Can you hit me what that direction went again? Because I think it went over my head.
Right is a direction and wrong is an opinion.
Fuck, man, that's harsh. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he really wants you to just throw
what,
it. What
you fucking Ayn Rand? Is this like Ayn Rand's like diary that he uncovered?
The faux fountain hoe.
The hoe.
Hoe shrugged.
Shrugged.
I didn't give a fuck. Like,
why is that so funny? And just a side note, this book is. Although he talks about how this book
libertarian
is...
HoTactics.
Yeah. Although, I mean, that's what this is, right?
Ayn Rand, the ultimate HoTact.
The ultimate...
the ultimate HoTactician.
Ayn Rand,
general of all those.
General of all those.
Yeah, like, hang on that image for a second.
Sorry, I was just imagining Ayn Rand in my head. The interesting thing is, he says explicitly, I think 2 or 3 times, this book is for any woman, white, Hispanic, black, whatever... But, like, you can tell that this book is written in a way that's geared toward black women and black men. The author is a black man. Not that it really it doesn't really matter, but I kind of hate that he makes he tries to make it the language very like hood language, and it's just lazy and stupid. And
it's part of the tone that he's trying to say, like, I'm just a realist down here on the streets, and I'm telling you the stuff that people don't want to hear. Therefore, it is true and good.
Yeah, I don't know. Although I did learn a new term from this book.
Oh, what new vocabulary with Paris?
Cuffing season.
Oh yeah, you didn't know.
I understand what it is, but I've never heard that used before, and I was like, oh damn. All right.
I believe we have passed cuffing season. We are
no, we're in prime cuffing season.
I believe the winter is like when November, December is like when you're supposed to have cuffed by now. It was like late cuffing season because you want to start doing it like after the summer is over.
I thought, but January, February, because that's like New Year, Valentine's. Those people always get engaged.
So I would consider this late cuffing season to perhaps like early.
That's funny. So cuffing season is the time where you need to be in a relationship because the holidays.
Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't really make sense.
I think it's more usually used as like. It's not something you're supposed to do, but just what people end up doing a lot of the time. Like, it's not saying, like, you have to do this. It's just more like people tend to hook up and stay in couple-y relationships during the holidays.
Yeah.
I don't know, to, like, bring them home to your family or some shit. Like,
yeah, and because, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year, and Valentine's Day are the big proposal dates. Because, I don't know.
Sure.
People give a shit. But yeah, cuffing refers to handcuffing, which is actually supposed to refer to the ring, ball and chain, slightly different metaphor there. Yeah, I never heard that before, so that was a new one for me.
You're not really up on, like, weird Twitter or hip Twitter stuff where that's, like, the whole game up and down stuff. I'm getting older, so I'm not keeping up on that shit too either. So we're getting to the point where this vocabulary is going to surpass us, and we're going to be the ones going like, "What does that mean?"
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. I mean,
did you learn anything? You didn't learn nothing.
I only mentioned the race of the author and stuff just because he uses a lot of examples that I didn't understand because I didn't know any like the cuffing thing.
You're not from that culture. You're not from
that culture. So I was like, okay, that's clearly what he's going for.
I mean, he doesn't mind dropping the N-word a bunch of times too. So
Did
like,
he?
yeah, a couple of times.
I never read that.
Couple of times.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow!
Definitely.
I just blacked out. I guess.
Yeah. Did you?
Oh no! That's not what I meant. Oh god. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not what I meant. I just meant I didn't notice that he said that.
Okay. Well, I think that might be it for, because I didn't really learn much from this, because like the confidence thing, like even though that was nice, like I came around to that idea like a couple of years ago too, and it definitely helped me out with some stuff. So
good.
I guess if you read like the first chapter of this book and then threw it away immediately, like you might come out ahead and like it being a nicer human being. But aside from that,
the only other thing of note is he has a blog that's even more kind of like incendiary. Like the titles of every blog post or whatever are very very attention grabbing. It's all pussy, hoe, bitch, cunt, slut. He uses all these.
That's the first blog post. Pussy, bitch, cunt, slut.
Yeah. He uses all these derogatory words and stuff to try to pull people in and get a reaction out of them, I think. And what we should do? We should read some of the Amazon.com reviews.
Okay, I can try to pull those up.
Maybe try to find some that are real, because
it's a little tough to tell.
Many of them were saying how great it was, and there were actually a couple who said it's despicable to tell someone to lie about sexual trauma. So, 10 points for those people who actually had some kind of soul.
Okay, let's see if I can pull something up.
I was disappointed that I couldn't find more about the author. I tried to do a little digging. I didn't have a lot of time to research, but all he really has is a Twitter and his website. And this guy also makes money off of these books, and he also, I think, makes money off of taking advice questions. What,
like $20 a pop, and I'll like give you?
He takes advice emails.
So you can just email him up and like.
That's where the Q&A questions came from at the back of the book. You can email this guy and have your questions answered. But I don't know how much he charges. I have no idea. This book is like 3 years old.
This is a 2-star review.
Oh, a 2-star. All right, Chris.
Amazing.
2 out of 5 stars. Amazing.
Okay, here's the thing. First, I'm kind of like, I have to read close to my screen, and my microphone is positioned in such a way that it's like kind of, I'm not going to be picking up wonderfully here, so bear with me, please, everybody. Okay, here's the thing. At first, I loved this book. I felt like I was holding gold in my hands, my new Bible. But then the author suggests to women lying about sexual trauma as a tactic to avoid having to have sex. Please, girls, never lie about that. He goes on. I'm really just... So, yeah, but she said it was amazing aside from that.
But she
has, like, a moral problem with that. Lying about that, but not about...
Yeah.
Stealing one from...
I don't know if there's any more realistic ones, because most of them are like 5 stars, great, and that's it. That's all the review says.
265 reviews. I'm sure I can find some stuff.
Something that's actually real.
Not real, or at least interesting to read.
Yeah.
Let's browse really quickly. Why don't you tell the folks about our Patreon?
You mean our Patreon?
Yeah. Patreon.
Chris doesn't know.
Patreon.
So Terrible Book Club, we
my friend Pat Rion, please give him money.
Give it up for Pat Rion, everyone. No, so Chris and I started a Patreon for the Terrible Book Club. If you have never heard of that or seen one, it's simply a kind of like a way to give us some donations and then get some fun free stuff in return. So we're asking for $1 to $8 a month.
Our goal is $25 a month, which is probably some of the lowest Patreon goals.
Yeah, it really only costs us about $300 a year to run the podcast. That's the cost of hosting and the books. So we're just hoping to fund that. Like, we're not looking to make a profit. And also, just so you know, like, the podcast is always going to be free to listen to. We're never going to charge you to listen to this.
Never. There might be some premium content.
Yeah, the Patreon is there.
But the actual episodes of Terrible Book Club aren't going to be that.
Right.
But maybe like we can do some like commentaries over movies or terrible stuff like that.
Yeah,
maybe some songs or something.
Yeah, yeah. It's all set up so you can see the different rewards. So there's a couple of different tiers.
Let me interject a 5-star review over here.
Oh, sorry.
5 stars. I paid and I don't want money back. I have read this book in one seat. I've never left. I only one chair ever.
All right, okay.
Leaving morons and morals aside, it's brilliant.
Okay, that sounds like somebody paid someone in their ESL class to write that review. I don't know.
Most of this is just great read, good book, 5 stars, so definitely paid reviews.
Yeah, not real. Yeah, anyway, so back to our Patreon. So there's a like I said, it's $1 to $8 a month, and honestly, if you just want to give us $1, sign up for a month and then cancel it. Like, that's totally fine.
Sure.
We're not expecting, again, this isn't like, we're not asking you to pay our rent or our car bill.
We're deploying HoTactics on you now. Actually, please, listeners.
Yeah, HoTactics.
I'll suck your dick, maybe.
I'm not
gonna.
No, there's no package.
No,
There's no package that involves Chris sucking your dick.
That's
please
definitely not gonna happen. I apologize for leading you on.
So the $8 tier is the one that has like a lot of really cool stuff in it. So it gives you access to exclusive content. You get a thank you in your name of choice every episode. You get to choose a scene for us to reenact. You get to pick a book that we will definitely read.
Yep, guaranteed.
And you also get a signed copy of one of the books that we read on the show. So the $8 a month tier is like, you get a lot of crazy stuff because, hey, you're giving us like over $100 a year if you do that one.
$8 is quite a bit a month.
Yeah,
I subscribe to some things for $5 a month. And
that's like what, a Frappuccino at Starbucks? I mean, that's sure.
Thank you for if anyone happens to like actually donate to, or not donate, but I guess you're paying for actual content, so it's not a donation, but.
But like I said, if you do want to donate, just sign up for whatever, for 1 month and just give us that, and then you can cancel it. Like, we don't really care. It would be great to have people, to at least achieve $300 in a year so we can just fund the cost of the show and not have to pay out of our pockets. It's not a lot, but as we mentioned earlier, we're both not rich, so,
We just want to cover the cost of doing this, which is, like, it's not really hamstringing us, but, like, it really helps to, like, not have to consider going back and forth, like, how much does Paris owe me?
Yeah,
how much
honestly, that's what inspired this, because we just got annoyed at trying to keep track of it. But yeah, so it's just patreon.com/terrible book club. It's pretty easy to find. It's on our website. So yeah, thanks, and hopefully you can throw us a buck or two, or continue to throw us a buck or two every month if you want exclusive content. But yeah, that's that. I don't know, Chris, are you finding any good reviews?
5 stars, all caps. Ladies, this is a must-read. This is a must-read book. I like his tell it like it no holds barred style. I purchased the other one, Solving Single. Also a must-read, better than The Power of Pussy by far. I also have that one. Well, nice to have insight into the male mind, and it's very true. Keep them hot.
Oh my god! Did someone have an epileptic seizure?
Keep them hot, Paris.
Keep them hot.
Everybody, that's how we're going to sign off today.
Keep them hot,
all right,
Chris.
Everyone, keep them hot.
Wait, what am I keeping hot?
Them.
What are them?
Keep them hot.
Are those my feet?
I keep them hot, Paris.
My eyelashes. Keep those eyelashes
keep
hot.
Keep them hot. All right, everybody, it's been another Terrible Book Club. Keep them hot.
No.
Don't let them get cold.
No, keep them
nice and toasty.
Ice cold. Ice cold.
All right, Paris. Goodbye.
Bye.